They reckon they'll rake in about $90 million a year from this. Paul Denny is a name you'd know well, advertises with us on this station. All he does is conveyancing. So when you do that, you get very good at it. I had to get that out of the way. He's on the line with us now. Paul, good morning to you.
Hi, John. Hi, Sandy.
Hi, Paul.
Now, can you just explain what they are charging for here?
Well, what they've decided to do, I mean, when people buy a property, there's a document that's lodged in the Land Titles Office that simply transfers the title. So that document is lodged, the old title's disposed with, and the new one issues. There's always been a flat fee for that. It used to be well under $100. Last year it was doubled to close to $200 to pay for these new security measures, which I think everyone accepted. What they're now trying to explain is that, perhaps we didn't get enough, we need to get some more money, so we're going to make it relative to the value of the property now.
Can I just jump in there? Because the argument's been that the security measures need to be paid for, and that's why they've increased this charge yesterday. But you're saying they've already done that a year ago?
Twice. In 2007, they went up from $79 to $90. That was an increase of 14%. And last year they went from $90 to $190.
So is there any change to the security measures?
Yeah,
Nothing.
absolutely, there is. There was a lot of...
No, but to have to pay for it through the charge they've announced yesterday?
No, well, they've already paid for it.
That's what I'm saying. There's no difference then.
No difference. Now, the security measures were necessary, and I think everyone accepted that. But they've been paid for. They raked in about $18 million just on those increases last year.
Paul, what percentage of property sales are under $500,000?
I looked at our figures yesterday. Last year, 42% were below $500,000. The year before, it was 49%. And you'd expect that as years go by, that percentage will gradually decrease.
Yeah, so the Premier's saying 70% of property purchase won't be affected by this. You dispute that?
Absolutely. Now, she's been pretty cute the way she's actually worded that. She's actually said 70% of registrations, but of course the registrations also include documents such as mortgages and discharges, not the actual transfer of property.
Yep.
So she's very, very careful about how she's worded that.
But, Paul, the state government's already making, I just mentioned stamp duty, so much money out of it. There's land tax as well, premium property duty.
70%.
Talk about milking the home buyer for all it's worth.
Yeah. Well, look, I have the job of telling people when they're buying a property, and let's face it, in Sydney it doesn't take much to get over $1 million. Sorry, you've got to bring a cheque in for $50,000 or $60,000 in stamp duty. Now it's going to be another $2,000 or $3,000.
Do you think the thinking might be, say, if someone's buying a place between $500,000 and $1 million, that they're going to pay a few $100s extra? That they might think if the cheque's got to be tens of thousands, that they won't notice it. The government might have thought they're not going to notice that extra little bit attached to such a large bill.
Yeah, I'm sure that's the case. But of course you've got to look at if this stays in, say, for 20 years. Suddenly everyone will be paying over $1 million for a property, and they're going to be up for another $3,000 or $4,000 just to transfer the title.
Yeah, I'm thinking of commercial properties as well.
Absolutely. Or they're, $20,000, $30,000 is not out of the question at all.
Yeah, and the other thing they've done, I think you did a bit of work on this, they're saying that these similar charges in other states are higher, but then when you compare all the other charges involved with property in other states and you lump it all together, we're not travelling all that well.
No, look, I read that argument, and I used to practice in South Australia where they did have a similar type of scale, which was set about 40 years ago in increments of $10,000. And all that's happened is just what they call, it's not bracket creep, it's bracket gallop, where if you register a transfer in South Australia, you can easily be up for $4,000 or $5,000. But that's something that's crept up over a long, long period. Yeah,
and they knew that the electorate wouldn't like it because, as we say, they snuck it through very quietly yesterday. So we're giving it a bit of publicity this morning, Paul.
Yeah, look, my memory goes back to the vendor stamp duty in 2004.
That's right, and that caused massive problems then for Bob Carr. Some might argue it almost led to the end of Bob Carr. The first thing Morris Yema did when he became Premier was reversed the vendor stamp duty on day one, I think, of his premiership. While I've got you there, Paul, just the market, we always talk about how the market might be getting overheated. What's your take on it?
John, look, my view is that a little bit of the heat has gone out of the market. It's still strong, but it's not ballistic like it was, say, 2 or 3 months ago. Interest rates are starting to bite, particularly with people who own properties already, so they're being a bit hesitant about moving. So, yeah, look, the heat has started to come out of the market.
Okay. Nice to talk to you again. Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Paul Denny, who is an advertiser with us, Paul Denny Conveyancing, you got some thoughts on that you might like to let us know. 13 13 32. People do have very strong feelings on this, so if you've got some thoughts, let us know. 13 13 32. Minister Responsible's Tony.